This is Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything Stadia related, and today we're going to be talking about the April Pro games for Stadia Pro users. Google has announced in a new blog post that we will be getting 3 games beginning April 1st, and those 3 titles are Serious Sam the Collection, Spitlings, and Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. So right off the bat, I want to say that this month's Stadia Pro lineup actually looks pretty good, and the standout title for me this month has to be the Serious Sam Collection. And we'll get to exactly why in just a second, but I also really need to point out that this month is perfect if you're looking for local multiplayer games since they all offer it across the board. But now it's time we talk about the games themselves and highlight some of the key features, and we're going to be starting with the Serious Sam Collection. So as the name implies, this is the original Serious Sam trilogy brought to modern day standards, so the games run in HD and have some better looking visuals than what you may have been used to, but they've also added some very neat additions. For example, you can play all the games in local split screen with up to 4 players, but on top of that, you can also take it online and play with 16 other people. And yes, you didn't mishear that, I said 16 player co-op. That's an insane amount of players to have, and it's just a blast and very hectic time. Aside from cooperative story play, there's a ton of different multiplayer type game modes for you to dive into, and yes, you can host this, and yes, more importantly, there is a server browser. I should also mention that there's different types of cooperative story play game modes as well, so there's a good variety for you to choose from for those who are looking for a more competitive thing. Now if you want to find out more about the game itself and what it offers, then be sure to click on the annotation above, as I made a video specifically about the game itself and I go a bit more in depth to all the features. I must admit though, I'm super happy to see this become a Stadia Pro title because the server list was pretty empty when I went in to check it out, and I think that this will really boost that player base so that there's more people to play with. I'm really looking forward to some 16 player co-op action. Anyways, it's time we move on, and now we're going to be talking a bit about Spitlings. The best way to describe this game is pure scream at your friends fun, because that's exactly what it'll have you doing. This game can be played single player, but I would have to say it's best experienced with others, and it's also important to note that it does offer online multiplayer, but you need to have people added as friends and invite them to your party. So your objective in this game is to shoot these slime balls without getting hit, and you do this by either spitting up or down. And that may sound easy enough right now, but trust me, it gets really difficult, and the more players you play with, the harder it is. And I did forget to mention that if one person gets hit even once, the whole level restarts, so that's where the screaming at your friends will happen. Now the game gets more complex as you progress through the story mode, and it'll introduce new obstacles that'll get in your way and hamper your abilities to move around freely. It's a very interesting and fun game to play, especially when you're playing with others. I can't emphasize that enough, it's an absolute blast. If you've ever played the old school arcade game called Pang, then you know exactly what to expect, because it's just that but in a much faster pace with a lot more going on at once. I should also mention that if you're a collectathon type player, then there's a ton of characters for you to unlock here through doing the story mode while also completing hidden objectives. And once again, if you're wanting to find out more about the game, be sure to check out the annotation above. It's a video dedicated to Spitlings and its features, so there you go. Now the last game we're going to be talking about here is called Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. This is yet another first on Stadia title, and it's going to be a Stadia Pro game the day it releases. Now before I begin talking about the game, I want to make it extremely clear, the build you're seeing in the background and all the gameplay in this video is a very early build of the game. I was really debating even including this footage, but I think it really represents what the game is about and gives a good understanding of what type of thing you can expect. If you love physics or puzzle games like Tetris, then this game is right up your alley. As a huge fan of Tetris myself, this game is fantastic and a really fun time. Your objective is to stack up these objects to a certain height to advance through the level. It's a very simple objective, but it can get super complicated real fast depending on how you're stacking these things. But as you can tell, with the art style like this, you just know the game is about to get much crazier. In fact, in my gameplay, you'll see a fish jump out and it'll start dropping fish tanks on me. I can only imagine that the full game is going to have even more crazy additions, and I'm really looking forward to it because I have to admit the little I did play of this old build I really did enjoy. Now the full game itself will have a story mode, co-op, versus, and you will be doing much more, such as defending your towers against invading ghosts and a fireball breathing dragon, among other hazards. I'm personally really looking forward to the release of this game, and you can certainly expect a more in-depth video on the title itself as soon as it's live. Either way, that pretty much summarizes the games for Stadia Pro for the month of April. What do you think about them? Are you happy with the selection, or are you disappointed? I know quite a few of you actually decided to skip out on the Serious Sam collection when it first released because you thought it would be a Stadia Pro title quite soon, and I guess you were all right. I look forward to reading your replies in the comments section below. Now, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video message is going to be another question. What games did you expect to be free for this month, and what are your predictions for next month? I'm very curious to see how many of you were right. As always, thank you for watching the video. This has been Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything Stadia related. The Gen S community is over 3,600 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.